Welcome to It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach with your host, Sister A. Legree. It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. You can find out more about us by logging on to our website at igbattmho.org. Again, this is It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. You can find out more about us by logging on to our website at igbattmho.org. And I just want to make sure that we are good here. Okay, looks like we're rolling along here, okay? So again, today I wanted to talk about, first of all, hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us, where we believe in making hope an option. You know, there are so many options that we could take. We could be, many people are going through a lot of things right now. We can stay depressed, we can be sad, we can feel like giving it up. I know some people who are listening to me, you feel like there is no option, there is no hope, that you just need to give up, or that nobody cares, and you feel so all alone. But I want you to know that hope is always an option. Hope can get you to the next phase. You know, hope now can get you to the next step. Then once you get to that step, there is another step. Hope is always an option. You were put here, you were created for a reason, and you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is. And that reason is not to be anybody's punching bag, to be abused, to be sexually, physically abused, to be spoken down to be mistreated. That's not your purpose. God has a purpose in store for you, and I encourage you to keep holding on until you can find out what that purpose is. Today I wanted to talk about making it through the darkness. Again, making it through the darkness. We're going to talk about sadness, depression, the holidays, and the darkness in general. You know, this is December 2024, and as we move into the holidays, a lot of people may find themselves being more sad, feeling more depressed, feeling more anxious because of the holidays. But a couple things to point out. During the holidays, it's not just the fact that it's December and we're moving into Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, the different holidays. It's also the change in season. Many times the season, even if it's not getting dark where you are, the season is changing, right? And when you have seasons are changing, you have darkness, we're moving into the holidays, there are some people who you can feel more isolated, because there are some people who are, it's cold, everybody's bundled up in their coats, people are trying to get from point A to point B very quickly without talking to a lot of people. So my point is, there are a lot of reasons that could contribute to people feeling lonely, contribute to people feeling isolated. It's just because it's cold, people are staying inside more, people are not talking as much. People, if it's the holidays, they're focused on the holidays, you focus on the kids, and so there's a lot of things. That's one thing. What do I mean when I say darkness? When we look at the natural darkness, just think about the darkness itself, like night when it gets dark. Have you ever been driving somewhere at night and have taken a wrong turn? And even though, or you may be driving somewhere at night and you know where you're going, but for some reason it seems longer. It seems like you've been driving much longer than you have been. And that's because when night comes, when it's darkness, when we can't see, we have a tendency to become more anxious. We have a tendency to, everything becomes more heightened because we're out of control. We can't see where we're supposed to be going. We don't know, we don't see the markers. In the daytime, if you're driving, you can see, okay, that's McDonald's over here, oh, that's a tree right here. You can see different markers. But at night, you can't do that. It's hard to see those markers. Now, you can see McDonald's, but, other markers, it may be hard for you to see. And as you're driving, you're wondering, has it been a mile? Did I pass this yet? How far? How much longer? Because you can't see. And this is what happens in darkness. When it's dark, you can't see as well. So it's a tendency to panic, to become anxious. It's the same way when we look at some of the things we're going through in life. Some of us are going through, you're in dark places right now. Your sadness, your depression has you into a feeling that you can't see anything. All you can see is what you can see. which is not a whole lot. Right? The depression is like a darkness. The sadness is like a darkness that's over you. And that darkness is telling you or making you feel like nothing is going to work, that you can't make it. That darkness has you only thinking about the past. That darkness has you thinking about regret, for things that you should have did, that you didn't do. You're anxious. You're worried about what could happen, what didn't happen, because you can't see. What do I mean you can't see? You can't see that on the other side there is hope. You can't see that on the other side, if you keep going, there's an answer for your problem. You can't see, because you're surrounded by the darkness, that there's light just on the other side. You can't see that, hey, if you can just make it through today, that the next day at 10 o'clock things are going to be better. You can't see that, because at that moment you're in the darkness. So again, when you're talking about making it through the darkness, what do we have to do to make it through the darkness? I'm going to come back to that, but let me just share a couple of things. I wanted to share this from the NIMH, National Institute of Mental Health. And those of you who follow me, I always encourage you. You can go on our website, igbatt.com. We have a lot of resources there. We believe in getting resources from, credible sources. One of the ones that I would recommend is nimh.nih.gov. Again, you can go on our website and get it, or you can go strictly to them. But I wanted to just start by talking about depression. What is depression? Depression, also known as major depression, major depressive disorder, or clinical depression, is a common but serious mood disorder. It causes severe symptoms that affect how a person feels, thinks, and handles daily activities such as sleeping, eating, or working. To be diagnosed with depression, the symptoms must be present for at least 2 weeks. Now, the difference between when we talk about clinical depression and sadness, or a person saying they're depressed, is that everybody gets sad. Many people get sad, right? Sadness is more connected to an event. It's connected to a situation. I'm sad because I lost my job. I'm sad because my husband left me. I'm sad because things didn't work out, right? But I'm sad because I don't have any money. But as soon as I get money, I'm no longer sad. If my husband comes back or I get a new husband, I'm no longer sad. Depression, I could hit the lottery and still be sad. Okay, so it's a little different. Major depression is a mood disorder, right? It's not just a person feeling depressed or feeling sad. When we're talking about clinical depression, we're talking about an illness that impacts all aspects of an individual's life. How you think, how you feel, how you behave. It's actually biologically based. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the sadness or when people say, I just feel depressed. Okay. Major depression includes symptoms of depressed mood or loss of interest, most of the time for at least 2 weeks, that interfere with daily activities. Okay. Depression and some of the signs: persistent sad, anxious, or empty mood for at least 2 weeks. Consistently, you're feeling this way. Feelings of hopelessness or pessimism. Things are not going to work out. You get real cynical. Feelings of irritability, frustration, or restlessness. We see this a lot in men, especially the irritability, frustration, restlessness. Feelings of guilt, worthlessness, or helplessness. Loss of interest or pleasure in hobbies and activities. Fatigue, lack of energy, or feeling slowed down. Difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. Problems sleeping, waking too early in the morning or oversleeping. Changes in appetite or unplanned weight changes. Physical aches or pains, headaches, cramps, digestive problems, thoughts of death or suicide attempt. So when you look at these symptoms, what you're looking at changes in what? In a person's mood. Think about your mood, your feelings, right? You're looking at changes in behavior. The key word with any mental disorder or diagnosis is the word change. You're looking at changes. If you're a person who always slept all the time, that's not a change for you. If you're a person who eats all the time, that's not a change for you, right? So again, we're looking for changes. When you look at this, right? You're looking at the feelings of hopelessness. the cynicism, pessimism. You're looking at problems concentrating, difficulty concentrating. For some reason, I can't get that word today, but concentrating, right? You didn't have problems before, now you're having problems. Again, these are changes. These are changes in your behavior, changes in your thoughts, changes in your feelings, changes in your mood, right? Changes in appetite. You're eating too much or too little. You're sleeping too much. Feelings of lack of energy, feeling slowed down, feeling sad. We're looking at a change. So when we talk about clinical depression, we're looking at these symptoms have lasted for at least 2 weeks, and there is no biological cause. Now, there are a lot of physical reasons why a person can feel this way, right? Sometimes you can have diabetes, cancer. If there's no physical reason connected to this, then you want to explore this a little further, okay? So when we talk about depression, now you won't have all of these symptoms, right? Other symptoms could be, like I said, feelings of restlessness or being on edge, becoming withdrawn. Well, I always don't like being around people. Remember, the word is change, okay? You feeling withdrawn, negative or detached, increased engagement in high-risk activities, increased use of alcohol or drugs, isolating from family or friends, inability to meet the responsibilities of work and family, problems with sexual desire and performance. Again, we're looking at changes in thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay. Depression can look different in men and women. We know that all people of genders feel depressed. How they express these symptoms and the behaviors they use to cope may be different. For example, as men and some women may show symptoms of anger or irritability. They might not show sadness, right? Increased use of alcohol can be seen in anyone, but you might see this more in men. Okay? In some cases, mental health symptoms appear as physical symptoms. Men are more likely to see a healthcare provider about these physical symptoms than their emotional ones. So again, a lot of times people will go to their primary care doctor and complain about physical symptoms, and then as you talk, you realize there's something else that's going on. Several persistent symptoms, in addition to low mood, are required for a diagnosis of depression, but people with only a few symptoms may benefit from treatment. So again, even if you have some of these symptoms, it means that you might need to evaluate what's going on. Sometimes when we talk about how to make it through the darkness, sometimes we have to take a look at, I always tell people, take out a pen or paper and write down on one side, okay, what's bothering you? What's going on? What are the triggers for you? No matter how quote unquote stupid it may sound, or you might think, what are your triggers? What are the things that's caused you to be anxious, that's caused you to be depressed, that why you can't sleep? What is it? Okay, list those things, and then begin to take a look. Okay, what needs to happen in order for me to change this, right? And begin to come up with a list. Don't worry about, oh, I can't do it. That's not what, we're not worried about that right now. List it down. Okay, so if I'm depressed, okay, what are you depressed about? Okay, I'm depressed because my husband might leave me. Okay, so then, okay, write that down. My husband might leave me. Okay, next thing is, what are you going to do if your husband leaves you? One of the problems is that when we get stuck in this circle, I call it a cycle, we get in these depression cycles or anxiety cycles, we start thinking about, well, what if my husband leaves me? And then we just go around. If my husband leaves me, I won't have a job. I won't have a job. I won't have a car. I'll have to live on the streets. And then if I live on the streets, I have to go into shelter. I might get beat up in the shelter. And we're just going around and round and round. Taking out a pen and paper will cause us to stop that cycle. So right when you get to that point where you say, hey, what if my husband leaves me? And you're getting ready to say, okay, I might lose the house. No. Right there. If my husband leaves me, what are the things that could happen? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? And then if these things are happening, what am I going to do to compensate for these things? Come up with a plan. One of the reasons why some of us are so more anxious and so depressed is because we feel like we don't have the wherewithal within ourselves to overcome, to compensate. So we get anxious. We have to come up with a plan. For some people, that works, right? Because when you think about what is causing me to be depressed, what is causing me, I'm in this darkness I can't see. Why am I so sad? Why am I so anxious? Okay, could it be regret? Okay, what am I feeling regret about? I'm regret about A, B, C. Okay, is there anything I can do about this? What can I do now? Okay, probably nothing. Can I do something about this? Maybe I can apologize. Maybe I can do this, or whatever you can do. The thing is, you want to come up with a plan, because if you don't, we could spend so much time caught up and thinking about what we should have done, what we didn't do, how we should have did it, what a person said, etc., etc. When you are, especially depending on the background, if you have a trauma background or a lot of negative things that have happened to you, you have to be careful, because you see things, that's the lens that you see life through. You see life through the negative things that have happened to you, the negative things that people have said, and you have to begin to know, okay, is this a trigger? Is this really true? It's true that I feel it, I think this, but is this really true? Am I taking my experience from the past and bringing it into the future? So again, when we talk about the darkness, there's a lot of reasons why people are in darkness, right? It could be because of depression. It could be because of the anxiety. It could be because of the worry. But how do we make it through the darkness? We make it through the darkness by, number one, coming up with a piece of paper, a pen, writing down some of the reasons why we are in the darkness, right? And then separating, looking at those reasons. Are these reasons, is it because what someone else did? You can put that on the side. And then think about, what are some things that I can do? Because the one thing we can, I'm not going to say blame other people, because sometimes it is other people's fault. But here's the thing. Once you've done that, okay, now someone mistreated me. Okay, so that's true. They mistreated me. Okay, what's the next step? You don't want to get stuck there, because that person who mistreated you isn't going on. Why does it bother you so much? Because see, the things that bother us, that are triggers for us, is there's a reason for it. But sometimes it's because we haven't dealt with rejection. We haven't dealt with our low self-esteem. We want people to like us. Why do you want people to like you so much? Because we haven't dealt with, we don't like ourselves. The reason why certain things bother us is because it was a scab that had a wound that hadn't healed, and a person said something and it just reminded us of that. Why are we so negative? Why are we so much on the defensive? Why do we, every time somebody says something, we go into we almost, we're going to fight, so to speak. So there's a lot of reasons why things bother us. We have to figure out, why does this bother me so much? Well, they didn't have no reason to say it like that. That's true, but why does it bother you? Because they shouldn't have said it like that. That's true, but why does it bother you? Okay. Is it true what they say? Well, no, it's not true, so why does it bother you? I submit that a lot of times is why it bothers us, because there's something it triggered. Okay, it bothers us, but we just don't know why. Why does this bother me so much? It is not true, or is it true? Is it something that I'm really battling with and they just pointed it out and I don't like it? So again, we have to come up with a plan. There is a strategy. There is a way out for what we're dealing with, right? I'm about to get put out. There is a plan. There's a strategy. I just got out of prison and nobody wants to give me a job. There is a plan. There is a strategy, okay? Other people have been in the same situation. And that's the beautiful part about life, is that there's no situation or no problem that you will go through that no one else has not gone through. I don't care. I know when we talk about trauma, complex trauma, whatever you want to call it, there is no situation that you will go through that no one else has not gone through, right? So keep that in mind. There is a way out. There is an option, but we have to come. I'm a big believer in pulling out the pen and paper and beginning to write, okay? One side, what are the challenges that I'm going through? Another side, okay, these are the challenges, what needs to happen? Okay, what needs to happen? And then in the middle, this is where we begin to write, okay? I'm going to write down, what do I need to do? Okay? What's the worst case scenario? If I lose my job, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, you list those, okay? These are the worst case scenarios if I lose my job. What is the plan? What is the strategy? Who do I need to call now? What resources, right? Because when we're in the darkness, we're only focused on the darkness. We only focus on that I can't see. I can't see an answer. I can't see a way out. I can't see the next step. I can't see what direction I should take because we're in the darkness. But when we shine the light in that darkness. And what is the light? The light is an answer. The light is a way out. The light is a plan. Right? When we begin to shine the light in that darkness, then it gives us hope. It gives us strength because now I have one more reason to have another option. I have one more reason to try. 988. There's some of you who will be listening to me. You feel like giving up. You feel like dying by suicide. You feel like you want to take your life. You feel like ending it. And what I'm saying to you, 988 is your way out. Pick up that phone, text it 988. Hey, this is how I'm feeling. There is a way out. There is an option. Right now, it's the darkness. When we're in darkness, that's all we can see is the darkness. All I can see, there's no way out. All I can see is I'm depressed. All I can see is that no one cares. All I can see is the cynicism in my life. That's all I can see, right? All I can see is my irritability, my anger, my depression, my anxiety. The fact I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose my job. That's all you can see. But when we bring light into that situation, an answer, a strategy, a way out, then we begin to see more light. So the thing is, how to deal with the darkness, come up with a plan. First, identify why you're in the darkness. 2, come up with a plan. And again, it's not going to be, when you're first doing this, you're going to say, oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Write it down anyway. Write it down. No one asks you because you're not going to solve it right away. Write everything down. And then from there, you begin to plan and strategize. Right? Because when you say to yourself, that's not going to work, you know what that is? That's the cynicism. That's the cynicism talking. Those are the words that are associated with darkness. There are some words that are associated with darkness that keep us in darkness, right? There are some thought process that keep us in darkness. Okay. There are some words, sad, anxiety, hopelessness, pessimism, guilt, feelings of worthlessness, helplessness. These are thoughts and feelings that keep us in darkness. Problems making decisions, slowing down, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, changes in unplanned weight changes, changes in appetite. And the reason why the changes in appetite is because we're so worried about what's going on that we can't eat or we're eating too much. These are the words that keep us in darkness. All right, I can't make it. The anxiety, when you find yourself being irritable and angry at people because they differ from you. Okay, people have difference of opinions. There are certain behaviors, there's certain thoughts, feelings, and words that's keeping us in the darkness, right? And when we're in the darkness, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we stay in darkness, there are words that will join with us while we're in darkness to further keep us in darkness, right? Well, they don't care about you. See, people are no good. That's why you got to stay to yourself. That keeps you in darkness. Staying to yourself keeps you in darkness. Feeling like you want to isolate all the time. You don't want to be around people. You don't like people. I just want to stay in my house and watch TV and live in a TV land, in a daydream land. No, you are not designed for that. Everybody was designed to be around people. You don't have to be 100 people, but you want to find 1, 2, or 3 people, support system. Support systems are critical because when you're by yourself in that darkness, the lie that you tell yourself is that no one understands, that no one cares, that you're the only one going through this. No, there are a lot of people who have gone through trauma, complex trauma, going through PTSD, going through depression, going through a divorce, going through physical, sexual abuse, going through anything you can think of. There is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that you're going through. There's nothing that you will go through that someone else has not gone through, that you can't learn from, or that they can learn from you. So when you're trying to get out of the darkness, first step is to realize that you're in darkness. 2, realize that I want to get out of the darkness. 3, looking at how I got here. 4, okay, what are the plan? What is the strategy? Doing some brainstorming and being patient because you're not going to get out of it overnight. Being patient, one thing at a time. right? One step at a time, coming up with a plan. 6, seeing somebody. If you need to talk to a therapist, if you need to talk to a psychiatrist, if you need to talk to people around you. A lot of times you don't need a therapist or a psychiatrist. Sometimes you just need to get out of the house. Sometimes you need to be around other people. Find something that you enjoy doing and doing it, and engaging with other people. And it's not that you're being with other people to tell them all of your problems. It's just being around people can make a difference. During the holiday season, there is a tendency for people to be more sad and more depressed for a lot of different reasons. Because like I said, it gets dark earlier, people are bundled up in their coat, no one is trying to socialize too much, everybody's trying to go home, get out of the cold. So it can lead to isolation. It can lead to feelings of sadness or depression. When you, family gatherings, well, I don't want to be around family gatherings because there's always sadness and depression. Sometimes that might be an opportunity for you to get with your family members and get some of your family members together and say, hey, we need to make a change in our family. We need to break this curse. We need to break what's happening in our family. It may be an opportunity to reconcile, to have a conversation about some things that have happened. So again, getting out of the darkness is going to take some work on your part, some work on my part. You getting out of the darkness, number one, to realize that you're better than the darkness. 2, to realize that this darkness is lying to you. When you're in the darkness, when you're alone with your thoughts are telling you what it knows, but your thoughts, they're lying to you. Your thoughts can only tell you what happened in the past. That's all your thoughts can tell you. You can reminisce about what didn't work out, what happened, who said what. That's all past. Your thoughts cannot tell you, cannot dictate or tell you what could happen in the future. Your future, you can change your future. You can change your future by making some changes now. So again, you don't have to stay in the darkness. How do you get out of the darkness? One step at a time. How do you get out of the darkness? By engaging with other people. Those other people could be friends, family, therapists, psychiatrists if you need one. It could be whoever it is. But getting out of the darkness, coming up with a plan. One step at a time, right? For some people, you may not feel like getting out of bed. Okay? Getting out of the darkness for you may look like, okay, this week, at least one day